Michael Schumacher completely withdrew from the public eye after a near-fatal skiing accident in 2013. Stay tuned for the latest update on Michael Schumacher's health condition. Michael is widely considered to be one of the best Formula One drivers of all time. He rose to the top of the sports hierarchy in the 1990s and went on to dominate it in the early 2000s. The German driver Michael Schumacher made his debut in Formula One at the 1991 Belgian Grand Prix. At the time, the tracks were dominated by racing legends such as Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost. But Schumacher was able to make an indelible mark on the sport almost immediately after his first race. He raced from 1991 until 2006. In the second stint of his career, which lasted from 2010 to 2012, he was instrumental in setting up Lewis Hamilton's successful Mercedes team. Schumacher was the Arrivste. He was an earnest and straightforward German who embraced a kind of clipped efficiency. But when Schumacher was seated in the cockpit, his car seemed like an extension of his body. He was a technical and a tactician in equal measure, and he was deeply interested in his racing team and hacking the car and the track for every incremental advantage. He only reluctantly accepted his popularity and had little interest in the celebrity lifestyle. He yearned for both the opportunity to drive and the victory. Schumacher was an embodiment of confidence. In his 19-year career, Schumacher won a record 7 World Drivers' Championships, the majority of them while behind the wheel of an iconic red Ferrari. Even though Schumacher maintained a low profile in the United States, he was revered as a deity in most of the world. During the first decade of the new millennium, he was consistently ranked among the world's highest-earning athletes, competing for the top spot alongside superstars such as Woods, Jordan, and Floyd Mayweather. When Michael Schumacher announced his retirement from competitive driving in 2012, his status as the greatest driver of all time was unshakable. If you ask any current Formula One drivers about what motivates them, most of them would say that it was Michael Schumacher who first sparked their interest in the sport, and then set the bar for how to handle their careers. You are enjoying this video, right? You definitely don't want to miss out on other amazing videos. So all you have to do is hit the subscription button. It's that easy. Thanks for doing that. Let's move on. On December 29, 2013, Schumacher was seen skiing at the resort of Méribel in the French Alps with his son Mick. The resort is located not too far from the family estate in France. He hiked up to a high height and made his way to a snowfield that had not been groomed. An experienced skier, Schumacher hit a rocky patch and struck his head. He sustained a traumatic brain injury despite the fact that he was wearing a helmet. The awful irony, of course, is that Schumacher spent his entire career in a line of work where danger can literally be found around every corner. He maneuvered a carapace of carbon fibers at 200+ miles an hour, covering a football field of distance every second, and emerged unscathed. A 1999 accident in which he broke his leg marked the most serious injury. Then, with his life seemingly in order, he was skiing when all of a sudden he ran out of luck. Schumacher was rushed to a hospital in Grenoble, France, where, to reduce bleeding and swelling of his brain, he was placed in a medically induced coma, which was a state of prolonged unconsciousness. In the span of 36 hours, Schumacher underwent a pair of procedures designed to remove blood clots. Other lesions were left deep within his brain after the surgery, where they were unable to be operated on. He was transferred to the Lausanne University Hospital in Switzerland in June 2014. He was taken out of the coma that had been induced by medical treatment after more than 6 months had passed. Later, during the summer, he was given the all-clear to return to Gland. His house was converted into a treatment facility, and Schumacher is now able to carry out all of his medical treatments and physical therapy without ever having to leave the house. When news of the accident broke, hundreds of camera crews, journalists, and fans descended on the hospital and set up shop outside the facility, crowding the family members as they went to visit. According to the BBC at the time, one tabloid journalist even disguised himself as a priest in an attempt to gain access to the ward in which Michael Schumacher was being treated. An employee of the helicopter rescue company that transported Michael Schumacher from Grenoble to Lausanne was arrested in the summer of 2014 on suspicion of trying to sell confidential medical records from the trip to German newspapers and websites. The attempted transaction was tracked through his computer, showing his asking price, which was €50,000, equivalent to approximately $67,000 at the time. The public has been deeply intrigued and concerned about the whereabouts and well-being of the F1 legend. The Schumacher family has, for understandable reasons, maintained a strict policy of privacy, and has provided almost no information regarding Michael Schumacher's quality of life, treatment, or prognosis. When asked about his older brother, Ralf Schumacher, also a long-time F1 driver, has a standard response. "My family and I have agreed not to say anything on the subject." Todt, Schumacher's former Ferrari boss, stated that the racer is still in good shape. In 2019, he said that he and the driver had watched an F1 race together and that their driver keeps on fighting. Todt says, "I'm always careful with such statements, but it's true. I saw the race together with Michael Schumacher at his home in Switzerland. Michael is in the best hands and is well looked after in his house. He does not give up and keeps fighting." Todt revealed that their relationship is not exactly the same as it once was, and Schumacher's family continues to battle with him. He continued, "His family is fighting just as much, and of course, our friendship cannot be the same as it once was. Just because there's no longer the same communication as before. He continues to fight, and his family is fighting the same way." Bernie Ecclestone, the former Chief Executive Officer of Formula One, provided another encouraging update when he stated that he was hoping Michael might one day address questions on his own on his health. He said, "He is not with us at the moment, but when he gets better, he'll answer all the questions." Only a limited few people are permitted to visit Schumacher as he continues on his path to rehabilitation. A former colleague of Schumacher's at Ferrari named Luca Badnow stated that only Schumacher's wife has the authority to decide who is permitted to visit. He said only a few people are allowed to visit Schumacher. His wife Karina decides who is allowed to see him. In her first interview since Schumacher's injury, Michael's wife Karina thanked the F1 legend for doing everything. She said, "When I was 30, I very much wanted to have a horse, and Michael went with me to Dubai, where I intended to buy an Arabian horse. He did everything for me. I will never forget who I have to thank. That would be my husband, Michael." The documentary Schumacher, released on Netflix in 2021 and made with the cooperation of the family, offered the most insight into the circumstances surrounding the F1 legend. In minute 100 of a 112-minute film, the filmmakers addressed the skiing accident. Karina Schumacher was quick to point out that she isn't a widow. She said Michael is still here, different, but here. Karina Schumacher accepted the prestigious state prize of North Rhine-Westphalia earlier this year, recognizing the driver's trailblazing career and giving fans a tearful update. She said, "I miss Michael every day, but it's not just me who misses him. It's the children, the family, his father, and everyone around him. I mean, everybody misses Michael, but Michael is here. Different, but he's here, and that gives us strength, I find. We try to carry on as a family as Michael liked and still does. And we are getting on with our lives. Private is private, as he always said. It is very important to me that he can continue to enjoy his private life as much as possible. Michael always protected us, and now we are protecting Michael." Mick, who is now 23 years old, suggested that his father is unable to carry on a conversation. He said, "I think Dad and me, we would understand each other now in a different way, simply because we speak a similar language, the language of motorsport. And that we would have so much more to talk about. I would give up everything just for that." Mick has joined the family business and is making his way up the ranks in the world of Formula One racing. In March, he was attempting to qualify his Haas car for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix when he lost control. The impact of the crash left the car in need of a complete rebuild, a 7-figure hit for the team. Mick Schumacher walked away from the accident unscathed and will continue to compete. However, this time it was more than just a close call. It was an unwelcome reminder of how rapidly one's luck may shift. We hope that Michael Schumacher will make a speedy recovery. We hope that within the following few years, we will find him to be well and able to communicate with his supporters worldwide. That will be all for today's video. Thanks for staying tuned. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and notification bell so that you can always get to watch more amazing videos like this. See you in the next video.